Alrighty, welcome everybody back to another episode of the NFS podcast. This is episode 6 coming out, so if you haven't listened to the rest, feel free to. They're not in any type of order, so you can jump from one to the other. Whatever title reaches out to you more, feel more than happy to go check it out and have a listen. And also, if you're listening and you haven't left a review yet on Apple Podcasts or on Buzzsprouts, the main link in my Instagram bio, then please leave a review. You know, if you want to leave 5 stars, leave 5 stars. If you want to leave 1 star, leave 1 star. Do what you got to do and just let me know, all right? Because I'd love to hear from you guys as much as possible. And also, as of today, a week after, we've hit 180 listens. That is fucking insane. And thank you to each and every person that has listened to this. We've grown exponentially since the beginning, and it's only the start. But I could not be more thankful for you going out of your way to listen to me for whatever you're doing. Let me know too. Send me a DM to literally anything. I want to know when you're listening to it. Is it during cardio? Is it on a car ride? Is it just when you're bored? Or, you know, do you need something? I don't know. I don't know what I do. I just know that I do it well, hopefully. And yeah, I just want to know from you guys and give me as much feedback as possible. And I know this is probably reaching a little bit, but if you can give me a shout out on any type of social media, I will be more than happy to repay the favor as much as I physically can in the small amount of fame that I have, if you want to call it that. But again, thank you. I love you guys, and let's get into it. Also, heads up. For this episode, I wanted to be very clear that I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about these things because it's made me into the person that I am today. And there's a lot that goes into it. So this one's going to be a little bit more of a somber episode. So if you want that happy-go-lucky, you know, punch in the face, this might not be the exact one for you. But if you listen to this one and you get something out of it, hopefully it's a better understanding of who I am. And that's all it is. Now, in the first episode, Welcome to My Brain, I kind of expressed what I'm trying to do with this. I kind of expressed my feelings of trying to better myself, trying to find myself in this world and go about it as best as I can, and expressing how much I want to have that better effort, that best foot forward when I do these things. But it didn't really give you a clear-cut image of who I am, where I come from. And I got to give a shout out to one of my friends, Neo. I was talking to him recently, and he said something to me. He said something that stuck with me like every single day. I've thought about it since that day. He said, I don't know what happened to you. I don't know what's gone on through your life that made you into the person you are today. But I love you. But you're an inspirational fucking person. And now I probably botched that quote because it's been a handful of days, but it's the first part. I don't know what happened to you. I don't know where you came from, what's going on, what your life was like. But essentially, I'm happy you're here. And that is a very loaded story. Now, I'm not going to give you a story of how I grew up from rags and I didn't have a single penny to my name. My family was dirt poor and stuff like that. My family's done fairly well for themselves. Granted, they had their own struggle. You know, 2 parents, neither of them had any kind of college education really, trying to figure it out, working countless amount of hours to take care of not 1, not 2, but 3 kids on their incomes, and then growing themselves as much as they can in their respective work fields in order to be able to afford a comfortable lifestyle, to afford something that they can be proud of for what they did. For those of you that don't know, my dad is straight from the border, straight from down south. He came to America when he was about 18, and typical story. I mean, jumped the border, got here. He's a citizen now, so you can't get me. You can't get my family. Oh, that's probably a joke in poor taste right now. But nonetheless, my dad, straight from Mexico, nothing in this country, nothing to his name, and he managed to survive, and not only survive, but thrive in his own way. Now, he's still working every single day, insane fucking hours, working in construction, but he's managed. He's managed to piece his life together. My mom, born in San Jose, her parents came from Mexico, so close relation there, but I'm technically a second-generation immigrant from that side, first-generation immigrant child from my dad's side, and all around kind of got this mixed bag of stuff. And for any of you that are, children of immigrants, or actually immigrants yourself, probably even more of a heart-wrenching story. you understand the process and the emotion that ties into anything that you do, and it having to be the best you can because you're now in the land of opportunity. And now I'm a very firm believer in America being the land of opportunity still. Even with all the divisiveness and the tearing between two sides, I have no doubt in my mind that this is still one of the greatest countries in the world because of all the opportunity that we have. Granted, is there things going on? Yeah, but I'm not here to talk about that, all right? I'm here to talk about myself. So I'm going to be selfish for a little bit. But yeah, that's how my family started. I mean, mom, dad, sister got made. I got made. My brother got made. That's a weird way to say it, but nonetheless, yeah. Gosh. Sorry, this is gonna take me a minute. Usually I'm very good with just keeping things going, but please stick with me with this one. I trust me. It's gonna be an important one. Now, classic story that I grew up, things go well. I'm able to go to school. I graduate, kindergarten. I don't know how many of you graduated kindergarten, but I did. Middle school, high school, moved on. Now I'm a college student and working full time. So all that good stuff. But for those of you that knew me in high school, I've evolved a lot from then. From those of you that know me from middle school, I've evolved a lot from then. From those of you that haven't seen me since kindergarten, probably don't even really remember who I am. So you'll be surprised to think that I am tall. But all those things had led to experiences. All those times in my life led to some interesting stuff that developed me into the person I am today. And that's what I need to talk about. Because there's a lot of shit that I haven't talked about. And I refuse to say. And I haven't been open about. Because I want everybody to perceive me as this go-getting person that's happy all the time, that's genuine. And of course, we all understand everybody has their problems, but nobody really understands how deep the problems get. Now, I want to start this off with something somber. Today is October 27th. October 27th is a very special day for a good reason and a really wrong reason. Today is the birthday of my Nino, who took his life a long time ago. And now, that happened 4 days after my birthday. Gosh, I'm blanking on the year, and I feel like an asshole about it. But today's his birthday. Nonetheless, I got to celebrate him today. I got to remind myself why I work so hard, why I push myself, why I set those limits. Because that was a kick in the mouth. That had to be around 2005-ish, if I was to say. Something along those lines. But I might be really wrong right here. But nonetheless. So, in 2010, my godfather, my Nino, he took his life. And that was a really big hit to my entire family because he was someone that was the life of the party. Someone who really was there, was always present, was kind of like that beacon of energy when it comes to the party. He's that Theo that comes to the party and he's always like, he's cool. Like you like him because he's doing all the cool things. And he'd always be super nice, treating all my girl cousins like with the utmost respect, and always it was treating all like me and all the other boys with like, macho, being like, oh, you're gonna get strong, stuff like that, like typical like shit. And so I was really young, and I don't think I've really ever shared this story with anybody before, but I'll do it here. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and I was sleeping in my bed. To me, I don't know what time it was, so it was just the middle of the night, probably like 1, 2 in the morning. And I wake up, and I just hear my mom crying. Now, I would sleep with the door open because I always was scared that, if the door was closed, something was going to get me. But, yeah, I remember my mom crying. And I saw her crying, and my grandpa, who lived with us at the time, was like holding her, and I couldn't hear anything they're saying, but they're just crying, and there's tears, and you can tell something was wrong, but I knew not to get up. I knew not to intervene with anything. So I just kind of let myself try to go to sleep to fight through it, but I can still picture it in my head vividly, the entire image. And so I go back to sleep. Hopefully that was a dream. Hopefully I'm just imagining things, and what a fucked up dream that would be. And then I wake up. My dad's not at work. My mom's not at work. We're not getting dressed to go to school. None of these things are happening. And it's confusing. It's like, okay, what happened? And so the day kind of draws on. And later that day, my mom just says that, your Nino passed away. And of course, I was so young, I didn't really understand what that meant. I didn't understand, what do you mean? Like, what? And they told us what had happened. He had shot himself. And it's hard for you to grasp. I feel like I was just at that age where I could understand what death was. I could understand that it was not reversible. And so hearing that, it broke me. I didn't know how to deal with it. And now, again, I'm not complaining. There's people that deal with their own shit. But this broke me. That was one of the people that I considered one of the coolest, one of those people you look up to in a way where you're like, oh, they're strong. They're like a superhero. They can do anything. And then I get this news. And I can't stomach it. Because it fucking hurts. And for those of you that don't know, I was always the smallest kid in absolutely everything. And I reference this a lot. But I was bullied, physically and then verbally or whatever you want to say. I was always, the last one to get picked. I wasn't the most athletic kid. I was the smallest one. I was the runt of the litter, essentially, if you want to say that. And so him being, the big, strong dude, because he worked out, he did all that stuff. It was cool because it was like, oh fuck, dude, I'm gonna get big. I'm gonna lift weights. I'm gonna do these things, and it's gonna be all cool. And I'm gonna get just like him, and I'm gonna get a tattoo because he has a tattoo, and it's cool. And then in a little blink of an eye, I never get to see him again. And that hurt. That really hurt. And so witnessing that kind of death at such a young age without really understanding how someone could take their own life fucked with me. It fucked with me really bad. And I started thinking about everything as negative as I could for a very, very, very long time. I was more of a pessimist than an optimist because I couldn't understand if this could happen, then how is there good in the world? And now, come a handful of years later, because I think if that was 2010, I was probably around the 4th grade, or maybe the 5th grade. And then I move on to my 7th grade year, I believe. It had only been at max 3 years, I think. As I think 2012. I don't remember. It's kind of a blur now, but it's interesting to say. But years after that, my grandpa gets diagnosed with cancer. And of course, I'm kept out of the loop because I'm a kid and I'm not supposed to know any of this, but surely I find out. And so getting over, quote unquote, the trauma of my godfather and then having to deal with this, it brought back not only a lot of emotions because every single day, my grandpa's just getting sicker and sicker, and there's nothing we can do. Everybody's saying, like, oh, just take care of him. He's going to have soup. They're saying people are coming over the house, telling him to stay strong. All of a sudden, like, family's coming over all the time. Okay, now he's not moving the same. Now he's having trouble, going to and from the bathroom. He's having trouble using his little respirator because they give you this little respirator thing, right? And essentially it's to test your lung strength. And I always see him do that. I'd help him get in and out of bed. I'd help them use the respirator. And it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, Flo, we're trying to get the ball right in their middle. Keep it consistent. Like, you got it. Like, to me, it's like, oh, okay, like, he'll get it, no problem. Like, it won't be hard. And then, he's trying. And I'm like, okay, good job. Da-da-da-da. We go after it. And then one time I'm like, okay, well, how hard could this be? Because he's having a lot of trouble with it. So it's got to be hard, right? And I do it. And out of every single time that I saw him breathe into the little contraption, the ball never got more than 3/4 of the way there. And on one breath, the ball just shot to the top. And that put things in a pretty narrow perspective. Oh, and then that you see a lot now on TV and stuff saying like, oh, middle schoolers are one of the most mentally ill, like suicidal range. Like you see suicides of boys and girls go skyrocketing through the roof during middle school with the invent of technology and social media and stuff like that. Now, I didn't really get on social media until I was in high school. I didn't have anything. I didn't do anything really. I had Facebook, but I literally didn't have anything. I never used it. I never found a need to do it. But I still fell underneath that category. I still fell underneath that category of suicidal preteens. And sorry. Oh, I've never talked about this really to anybody except for like my girlfriend. And I fell underneath a category of people that wanted to take their lives away. Knowing that my godfather had done it and how much pain that brought not only me but the rest of my family. How much pain that lingered, how much suffering that goes on and the feeling that comes with it. But yet I found myself in the same situation at a much, much, much younger age. And the thing with this is it wasn't ever just, oh, like I would have those thoughts and it'd be that and done. Like it wouldn't come. It's that I would take action. I would try. There were countless attempts where just because I couldn't tie a good knot, that I'm still here. And that's a really terrifying fucking thought that I have. That because I didn't join Boy Scouts like I wanted to, and I couldn't tie a very secure knot at a young age, that I'm still alive today. I would cry, get frustrated, get angry, not understand things, and I would boil over to the limit to where I just wanted to be done with it. I want this to be very clear. I, Daniel Valencia, tried on multiple occasions to commit suicide. Now, I want to liven the mood a little bit. I have not tried to do this in many, many, many years. I've gotten a lot better with myself and my mental health state. I've gotten a lot more confident, a lot more level-headed. You can give it up to hormones and all this other shit. But nonetheless, it's a fact of state that this was something that I attempted to do on many occasions. And I live with that reality. I live with that understanding. And now what I don't want to happen is that if you're listening to this, of course you're probably shocked. Or at most just taken back. But I don't want you to pity me or say sorry or whatever it is. That's not why the fuck I'm saying this. I'm saying this because I want to air out my dirty laundry. I want it to be that I say these things and I put it out there and there's no middleman. It's just me. So I'm going to say that again one more time. I, Daniel Valencia, attempted suicide on many occasions. And miraculously, I survived. I suffered from what I would only assume, because I don't want to diagnose myself and be that person, but from depressive episodes, from suicidal episodes, from thoughts that would tell me to go do these things to myself, and just end it all because there's no point, there's no reason, it doesn't mean anything. That it buries me deep and it digs at me fucking hard. That these are the thoughts that I had for a very long time, but I'm proud of myself because I have no idea how the fuck I made it to this point. It's a mixture of a lot of things. But nonetheless, it's my responsibility to move forward from this. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, you're probably saying that I feel extremely happy lately. Let's liven the mood here. I don't want this whole thing to be a fucking downer. But I feel extremely happy now. I'm doing the work that I love. I'm helping people out in their health, their goals, and their mentality. I'm making this fucking podcast, which is fucking amazing, astounding. Like, give it up for yourself. For you, the fucking viewer. You. Give it up for yourself. for taking this step, if you're able to take action. I'm happy right now. That doesn't mean that I'm done. That doesn't mean that I'm complete. I'm finished with everything that I'm trying to do. But what it does mean is that I'm in a way better state of mind than I was a handful of years ago. And I reference this to middle school, but this happened in high school. I had those episodes and those attempts. They haven't happened since in college, and I've been very mindful of it. Of course, those thoughts will every so often, I have to be in a really fucking dark place, will ever so slightly start to come back in, but it doesn't feel like an urge. It doesn't feel like a temptation. I know who I'm becoming. I know what I want to get done, what I'm trying to do with my life, that I have people to help, that I have things to do, and just taking my own life is not the solution. I've witnessed 2 very triggering deaths in my life. I have lived my life for the most time. This one's a kicker. I lived my life almost every day until I was able to think for myself that I was completely fucking worthless. That I felt like I was told every single day that you're essentially worthless, that you can't do anything right, that you're a fucking idiot and you can't do these things. That it's a miracle that you're able to survive throughout the day. That these internal thoughts that kept on coming in. And now I realize more and more that these aren't my thoughts. They're other people's thoughts. The people who doubt me. The people who put doubt on my name. The people who try to keep me from doing the things that I want to do, the things that I love, that hold me down because trying and risking things doesn't make any fucking sense. But that's how I learn. I feel great. I'm in some of the best shape that I've ever been in my life. I'm in some of the most mentally clear state that I've ever been in my life. I'm trying things. I'm excited to learn. I still procrastinate though. Let's not get that fucking twisted. But I'm excited about life. I am thrilled about what's coming next. I cannot wait to experience something else, something more. And as long as I don't do it to myself, whenever the time is right and I'm supposed to go, that is my timing. And I know if you've ever struggled with this, I tried really hard to not cry on this. So I'm happy that I made it through without crying. But if this has ever been something that you suffered with or you dealt with, please let me know. Listen, I don't have the answers. I don't have the solutions. I don't have anything. But I'll listen. Because I know how important it was for when someone would just listen to me. When you're able to just let it out and be vulnerable. This is the first time I've ever told these things on here. And there's a lot more to share and a lot more to give. But for right now, I really want that to be at the top of everybody's mind. If you're listening to this. It's a long road. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of things that get in your way. There's so many distractions, so many things in this world that are trying to keep you from doing what you want to do. And sometimes your own brain works against you in those ways. And it fucking sucks. We don't like it. Nobody likes it. But it's the reality of the fact. And there's no way of getting around it. But you got to get through it. You have to push yourself. And so I'm challenging myself, pushing myself, doing these stupid challenges that I know fucking suck. And there's no way that I need to do them, but I feel that urge to do it because, again, my life could have gone a completely different way, extremely fucking fast. In a blink of an eye, all of this stuff that I'm right here excited about, all of this stuff that I'm excited to learn about, all these things that I'm trying to do, they would have fucking vanished. They would have just disappeared. It would have never happened. I would have never met the love of my life. I would have never became someone that you guys listen to. I would have never been able to help out the people at my work. I would have never been able to make these great fucking friends that make me push myself harder because I know the expectation they have for me, and that's the expectation I want to live up to because that's the person that they see, the person that helps, the person that goes for it, the person that brings out more in somebody else, not because I'm trying to get something out of you, but because I want to fucking do that for you. I'm going to bring that value to your life, and I want to make sure that you're doing the best you fucking can because that's all we're sent here to do. Through that experience, I truly understand what it means when we have one life. We have one fucking life. If you don't do the shit that you're trying to do, if you don't do the things that you're trying to say, if you just fucking cut the axe, you lose out on all the opportunities. You lose up on all the experiences, the goodness, to fulfill your purpose. And again, my purpose for me is to help other people live a healthier, wealthier, more happy and fulfilled life by giving them the tools to set them up and attack their fucking day and attack their goals, whether it's in their fitness, whether it's in their finance, whether it's in their family and their relationships. And I want you to know too, I do not have these things down. I am not a perfect person. I'm fucked up on many things, especially financially. But that doesn't mean that I'm not trying my best. Go out and do something. For me, now I'm asking you to do something for me. Go out and do something. Do something you love. Do something you truly fucking care about with a passion that is so fucking on fire that you can't hold it back. And I don't give a shit if people don't understand. I don't give a shit if people don't respect it. I don't give a shit if people are going to talk about it. If your favorite fucking thing is to make sock puppets, go make a fucking sock puppet. Nobody's going to give a shit, because at the end of the day, if you don't make that sock puppet and you grow up to be fucking 90 and you regret that, then what was the point? You didn't get to do it. And I know this is a stupid fucking example. I know it's cheesy. But I'm not here to fucking make you feel good about just like, oh, whatever, or do that. I'm here to tell you, you have this life in front of you. You have the ability to go do something. You have it, and you owe it to yourself, not anybody fucking else, not your parents, not your brothers, not your friends, not your girlfriend, not your wife, not whoever the fuck it is. You owe it to yourself to go out and fucking do it. Because if you don't, you're going to waste your fucking time. Because if I killed myself on that day, if I fucking axed myself off, I would never have fallen in love. I would never have felt fulfilled. I would have just felt empty, sad, and alone. And I would hate for anybody to feel the way that I did. And for that to be their last breath. Because I owe that to myself and my needle. I owe that to everybody that ever depended on me. And now I owe it to you guys. So I love you guys. I really do fucking care. Take care.